We're ready to rock and roll.
All right. Good morning, everyone. We are going to go ahead and get started. I am recording this session so that it will be available to you on our technology tools and training website sometime early next week, and we will show you where that is located. But welcome. We're so glad you're here. My name is Allison Burball, and I'm here with Tina Henby. We are two out of the three applied technology specialists for our district. Dr. Diane Lawson is doing this exact same session with some of our elementary teachers. So she is not in our room or our session today, but she is a part of our team. Um, if you have any questions throughout this session, please add it to the chat. We have Amy and Carolyn here as facilitators, and Tina and I will try to answer those questions as we go through the session. Also, feel free to unmute yourself and ask those questions if it's, during a time when we're working. We do want to thank all of our media specialists across the district. They are helping us out today by being in the room and facilitating these sessions. And so we are excited to have them and super grateful for their help. Our media specialists are a great resource at your school if you need any information about Magic School, which is going to be the main tool that we're talking about today, or any of our technologies that are available district-wide. Our media specialists attend trainings where they're trained on a lot of these technologies. So that is a great resource for you at the school level. Again, this presentation is going to be available to you early next week on our technology tools and training website. There are some links to some documents and just some basic how-tos in this presentation that you may want to refer back to. So you will have access to this presentation, the actual slides, and then also the recording will be available. Today, we are going to talk about the AI guidelines that we have in our district. We will also briefly talk about the approved AI tools that we have for our district, and then we're going to spend a majority of our time today exploring Magic School teacher tools.
Hopefully this is a form that everyone has seen so far. These are the guidelines for generative artificial intelligence, or our generative AI. It was created as a student-facing resource, something clear and accessible that can help students understand how to use AI responsible in school. It's built directly from the language of our district acceptable use policy. So it's not just a random handout. It reflects the expectations we already have in place. It's just translated into something that students can understand and apply. The layout is quite simple and intentional. It breaks down AI into 3 zones. Good to go. This is our green light use. Things like using district approved AI tools with teacher permission or exploring AI to support, but not to replace their learning. Be cautious. This is our yellow zone. It reminds students that AI can be biased or inaccurate or sometimes even outdated. So if they're unsure, they should ask questions, think critically, and ask additional assistance from teachers and students that they can always visit their media specialists. Never. This is our red flag zone. Students may not use AI to complete assignments without documented permission. AI users should never share their personal information and never use AI in ways that break down the school rules or the laws. As teachers, it's important that we're all on the same page and that what's about in this document, because we're the ones that are helping our students navigate these boundaries. So it is designed to be a conversation starter. Now, for you as teachers, we've also designed an AI Classroom one-pager. This is your go-to resource. It defines key terms like AI and generative AI. It gives us examples of tools that students and staff might use, and it outlines clear expectations for how AI should be integrated into instruction. It also includes guidance on how to communicate AI expectations to students, like adding the AI statement to your syllabus, setting boundaries for your assignments, and having those important conversations about ethical use. We're not going to spend too much time on this today, but it is designed for you to read and to refer to on your own. But just know it is aligned to our district AUP, and it is meant to support consistent, responsible use of AI across our classroom. This document will be available for you in a PDF format once this presentation is shared.
So we want to, of course, recognize that whenever we're bringing up the topic of AI, probably then at least AI use with students, the number one thing that we hear a lot of is are students going to be using AI to cheat, right? So we recognize that our students have access to other AI tools outside of school, and that which gives them more opportunity to find answers to questions. So for example, in this video, you can see that students can use the Snapchat app on their phone, which has an AI feature to scan a page and get the answers in an instance. So you can see I have a paper copy of a quiz here. I have Snapchat. I took a picture of it, sent it to the AI in Snapchat. And the AI gave me questions to, or gave me answers to all 20 of those questions. So of course, we expect students to only use approved tools while in the classroom. We do recognize that they do have access to other AI applications outside of school, which is, all the more reason why it's important to follow those guidelines that Tina was just going over to ensure that students understand how to use AI responsibly. So this graphic is from Matt Miller, who's from Ditch That Textbook, and he's been working on the use of AI for teachers. So in this continuum of how AI can be used in classroom assignments, so teachers at your school will need to identify areas where students may use AI and where they shouldn't, as well as modeling good use of technology and AI. Keep in mind that in some classes or some assignments, the line of where cheating is drawn can be different. This all depends on the class, the assignment, and expectations. So if we take a look at this graphic, we can see down at the bottom is more human work. So a student does all of the work without any assistance from AI, without any assistance from the internet, without any assistance from family members at home or a tutor. I think as educators, we can agree that that's not cheating, right? A student showing their work without any of this extra assistance is going to be truly that student's work. At the very top of the spectrum, we have more AI created options here. So this is where maybe the AI does the student work for them with no thought by the student, right? And on that end of the spectrum, I think most of us would say that that would be cheating, right? If a student is turning that in, it's their own work, that is cheating. They haven't put any of their own thought into it. So the question really comes like, where do we draw that line? And the answer is it's going to be different for every classroom, for every assignment, and maybe even for a piece of an assignment, right? Somewhere in the middle here, we have student creates content until they're stuck, and then they ask the AI for help getting unstuck, right? There might be instances in your class where that is okay, right? Where you are okay with them referring to a MagicSchool tool to get some help. But there might be other assignments in your class where that's not okay, and that would be considered cheating, right? So you can see that the line of where we draw where cheating is going to be different for every single person. So if you are more likely to assign more human focused tasks, we want you to think about how you avoid issues regarding AI and how are you going to explicitly teach students the skills that they need. If you're assigning tasks where students are allowed to use AI, how are you explicitly teaching the skills that they need to be successful AI users?
So I want to share very quickly with you the generative AI tools that we have available for us in St. Johns County. These tools are already vetted and approved for district use and have signed agreements ensuring the protection of our student data. Magic School offers a suite of AI tools designed specifically for both teachers and students to enhance their instruction and learning. Adobe Express enables the creation of AI-generated images and graphics for classroom use. Reading Coach is a powerful tool for supporting student fluency through personalized practice. Turnitin, available for high school only, provides plagiarism detection and AI writing analysis to support academic integrity. Copilot, which is available for teachers and staff only, is a Microsoft AI chat box very similar to ChatGPT or Gemini. For school and related tasks involving AI chat, we strongly recommend that you use either the Copilot or the Magic School. When you assess these through your district credentials, these platforms will offer an enhanced data protection and compliance with student privacy standards. So, our session today is focusing on, well, what is Magic School? Magic School is a new education focused generative AI platform that is available to all teachers and students in the district for the 25-26 school year. Magic School offers us over 80 AI-powered teaching tools designed to support educators with tasks like rubric creations, lesson planning, differentiated instruction, classroom management. All these tools are built specifically around educational use and are aligned with instructional best practices. Students can access Magic School through teacher-created student rooms. Teachers control which tools are available. They can customize them to align to their learning targets. They can monitor their student interactions, but this platform also includes a built-in safeguard. Teachers are notified when students have low engagement or inappropriate use, and any mention of self-harm or violence is automatically flagged and escalated, and sent, a message is sent directly to the teacher. Now we're going to take a moment to demonstrate how Magic School works.
Yeah, so I am going to go into the live version of Magic School here, and you'll see when I log in, it opens directly to those teacher tools. So you could scroll through and see all of those 80 plus tools that Tina was just talking about. Um, I'm over here in the left-hand column under teacher tools. That's the default page. Underneath here is the output history. This is showing all of the generations that I've made with the various tools. So if you ever make a generation and then want to come back to that, you can always go to your output history and see the previous generations you've created. Um, Here is Raina Chatbot, which we are going to discuss a little bit later on in this session. So I just want to point out that Raina Chatbot. It's very similar to ChatGPT or Copilot, but it's in Magic School. And then Magic Student is right underneath that. And this is where you can create rooms for your students to use some of these tools. We are not going to be able to touch on Magic Student today in this very short 45-minute session. But just know that that feature is available and approved for use with your students. There's additional information on our Tech Tool website about Magic Student. So if you're interested in learning more, there's some resources in there for you. Okay, I'm going to go back to teacher tools, and I want to point out that as you're scrolling through those 80 tools, it's kind of hard to find exactly what you're looking for. So some pro tips here is to click on the categories button, and you can see these tools inside these certain categories. So instructional materials, planning tools, students support tools, feedback and assessment tools, or communication tools. So if I'm looking for maybe some kind of tool to help me with instructional materials, I can now filter down and I'm only seeing those teacher tools that align with instructional materials. Um, Probably my favorite way to find a tool is to just search, use the searching tool. So if I want to create a lesson plan, I'm going to just type in lesson plan and click on that lesson plan tool. One thing that's really nice about Magic School is that it scaffolds that prompt writing process, right? If you are in Copilot or a ChatGPT or Gemini, you have to come up with that prompt yourself, which means remembering to come up with all of the details that you need to include in order to get a good generation, right? The Magic School tools break down or scaffold that process for you so that you're able to just kind of fill in these boxes and then generate something. So we are going to create a seventh grade lesson plan. I have some stuff already prepared, and it happens to be ELA. So I know we have some math teachers with us. Apologies. We'll try and do a math example in a little bit. Um, but here in the topic standard or objective section, I'm going to type in create a detailed lesson plan for ELA.7.R.1.1. R.1.1,
You got
yes, that
it.
focuses on analyzing the impacts of setting on character development and plot in a selected literary text, include objectives, activities, assessments, and necessary materials, right? So I'm going to just keep that as my topic standard or objective for right now, but I do want to point out there is a section where you can add a file. So if you have a file on your computer or even on your phone, you can add that file. So if you are an ELA teacher teaching this standard, I'm assuming you have some kind of passage that goes along with this lesson, right? And you would probably want to add that passage to this lesson plan. So you can attach that file and that will become part of the knowledge that the AI uses to generate this lesson plan. For additional criteria, this is where I'm going to put any specific details that maybe fit my students or my classroom. Remember, you are the expert in the room, so you're going to know what kind of things you need in your classroom, or maybe the time constraint that you have, or the classroom culture that you have. So you might want to include that information. I just put in here, ensure that the lesson plan incorporates a variety of interactive components such as group activities, discussions, and hands-on exercises to enhance student engagement. Again, I do have an option to add files here as well.
And take a
Down at
picture.
the bottom is, yes, and down at the bottom is where I can put in my standards to align to. So you could just leave it as Florida best standards. We found though that if you add in the entire standard, which I did kind of mention it up here, but again, you can never do it too many times for AI. If I include that full standard, then it's more likely to generate something that's really specifically aligned to that standard. And again, Tina was just pointing out here, you could add a file and then there's an option to upload from your phone here as well. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click generate. And now it has started to generate this lesson plan for us. It's um, still going, so I'm going to give it a moment to finish this generation, and then we'll kind of take a look at what it's generated for us. Okay, so here, if I scroll back up to the top, we have our learning objective, we have our assessment, the key points, the opening activities, introduction to new materials, some guided practice, some independent practice, a closing activity, an extension activity, homework, and then, of course, the standards that it's aligned to, right? So now at this point, if I am satisfied with this lesson plan, I could copy it and put it into a document wherever it needs to go, or I could send it to a Microsoft Word document. However, I want to stress that the importance of being the expert, right? You as the teacher are the expert, so you need to read through everything before we're just submitting this as our lesson plan or before we're in front of students and talking about this material. Um, it AI can get it wrong, right? It can be inaccurate. It can produce biased information. So it's really, really important that you read through everything first. I also love at the bottom here that the AI offers some suggestions or some questions that you can ask it to go deeper. And that is one of the really neat things about AI tools is that you can go further, right? So I can kind of write a follow-up question or a follow-up request here. I want to say that I want three centers for my students. One that is for individual work, one that can be completed with a partner, and the other one that is engaging and hands-on. Um, So I'm going to go ahead and hit send. Notice how I didn't have to restate that this is for a lesson plan, that's for the ELA, 7R11 standard. I don't have to reiterate any of that because it already knows that in that chat window. So here it has generated our center one, which has individual work with a graphic organizer. Here's our center two, think, pair, share discussion. And then center three is our hands-on activity where we're creating a diorama, right? So this sounds super exciting, but maybe in your classroom, you don't have like the shoe boxes and all the supplies that you would need for a diorama. So I could go further and maybe say, come up with 5 other centers for center 3. And I'm going to hit enter, so that's going to generate some more information. Am I going to actually use 5 more centers? No, this is where I'm going to use my authentic intelligence, the human in the loop, to determine which of these hands-on centers is going to work for my lesson plan. So maybe I'm going to choose that this, setting analysis through art center is the one that I want to use. So I'm going to say I'm going to use this for center 3. Please include this in the lesson plan, right? So I'm just trying to point out here that you can keep interacting back and forth with the AI until you get a lesson plan or until you get something that's generated that is aligned with what you need, right? So now it should include those centers in my lesson plan. I wasn't 100% paying attention. Oh, there's some center activities. It looks like it got it wrong. It included a lot of those
All of
centers.
them.
So a good um, a good example of making sure you read through everything because it did not put that one center back in. I still only want 3 centers, but it included these ones as well. So great example of making sure you check everything before you submit it or use it. Okay, I want to go back to our PowerPoint here and give you an opportunity to go into Magic School. So hopefully everyone has a laptop or a device handy. We're going to ask that you log into Magic School and explore some of the tools. I was just demonstrating one of the 80 tools that are available to you. So I was demonstrating the lesson plan tool. Feel free to go into that lesson plan tool and kind of create a lesson plan that fits your needs, or you can find a
Trying to.
different tool that might fit what you're looking for. So to get into Magic School, you're going to start by going to Clever and then clicking on the Magic School logo. It should be in the Students Apps section. It should at that point send you directly into Magic School. If it's your first time logging in, then it is going to prompt you to set up a profile. This is just so that it can suggest tools that align with what your grade level and subject are. But if you have the ability to skip that profile setup, feel free to do that so you can get straight to the tools. If for whatever reason you're Clever or this link isn't working in Clever, you can always just open a web browser and go to magicschool.ai. From there, you'll click on educator. You're an educator, and then it's going to ask you to sign in. This is where people get hung up a little bit by naturally you want to go ahead and put in your email and password and click sign in. However, our Magic School is rostered through our Microsoft single sign-on accounts. So you'll want to make sure you click on sign in with Microsoft. So do not put in an email or password, click sign in with Microsoft. Again, hopefully you're able to just get in through Clever because then it should all be connected for you there. So this, I'm going to leave this up, but this is a screenshot of that left panel. So you'll be looking in teacher tools. Again, you can search the tools or you could search by category by scrolling through. And then I also have Raina chatbot circled here. We're not using Raina yet, but we will talk about Raina in a little bit. So we just wanted to point that out on this screen. So I am going to give you 5 minutes to explore 1 or 2 tools on your own. So it is 10:54 right now. So we'll come back at about 11 o'clock and see where we are and how we're doing. I'm going to go ahead and stay quiet so you have some time to focus. Amy or Carolyn, if there's any questions or
Let
anything,
us
feel free to let us know.
And let us know if you guys are good, logged in. Carolyn, to answer your question, it does have a PowerPoint presentation where you can do a presentation of information, but you would have to put it into PowerPoint yourself. As far as with pictures, you will probably have to upload your pictures or feed it to different graphics.
Yep, to add on to that, I feel like there's no great like presentation generator out there yet, or at least not
Right.
one that's approved for our district use. So you would have to do a little bit of work with, beautifying the PowerPoint. For generating graphics, though, there is Adobe
Adobe
Express. You
Express.
can go to it directly from one of the MagicSchool tools, or we have Adobe Express in Clever as well for all teachers and students. So that is a way to kind of generate pictures that are copyright free and safe for use for presentations.
Mhm.
All right. Hopefully that few minutes gave you enough time to play around with at least one of the tools. Again, we could spend all day going through the tools and through the training. So for 45 minutes, we have to kind of rush through some things, but we did want to give you an opportunity to jump in there. We are going to move on, and we kind of already demonstrated some of these action tools or things that you can do after you generate something. That whole send a message is a way to ask Raina or ask the AI to tweak the output, right? So you could ask for 5 more examples of this activity, and this is kind of helping you get further without having to start all over with a whole new generation. The other action buttons that we didn't point out are available to us. The first one here is translating your output. So if you have, students or families that speak another language and you want to generate something in their language, you can first generate it in English and then ask AI to go ahead and translate that into another language. Um, you can always ask questions or get questions generated. So you have the option of asking for multiple choice questions or open-ended questions. You could change the length of the output to make it longer or shorter, or you can summarize the output into a paragraph, bullet points, or a sentence. And then custom prompts are really, really helpful. So if you, for example, if you're translating your outputs into Spanish, because maybe you have some Spanish speakers in your class, you could add in a custom prompt that says, generate translate the
Trans
above output into Spanish. So then all you have to do is click on that custom prompt and it will automatically generate it into Spanish for you, since that's something maybe you consistently ask for. Or another one we've seen is if you have students with some specific accommodations, so you're always having to include that into your lesson plans or whatever you're generating, you could create a custom prompt that maybe, like provide activities for students who need this read aloud or something like that. So those action tools are super helpful for us to make it to personalize those outputs and work better in your classroom.
So what happens if we create these things and they're fabulous and we want to be able to go back to them? One thing about our enterprise version is that everything you generate, it is saved. And all of your saved outputs are located in your output history, which is on the left-hand side. So you can have the opportunity to be able to go back to them at any time to find them. If you create something and you want to share it in a PLC, you can copy it or export your most recent output, and you're able to copy and paste them anywhere you like, or you could easily just export them to Microsoft Word.
All right. So when using AI tools, the quality of your prompt directly impacts the quality of the output. So it's not like a simple Google search. Prompting in AI requires more structure and more specificity. So to craft an effective prompt, we like to think of it in three ways: defining the role, the task, and important details. So RTD, role, task,
RTD.
details, is a great way to remember that. So when you're setting the role, you can start by telling the AI who it should be. So for example, you're a master seventh grade science teacher. This helps the AI tailor its response using the most relevant knowledge and tone for that role. Defining the tool gives you or allows you to clearly state what you want the AI to do. Do you want it to create a lesson plan? Do you want it to create a quiz? Do you want it to create an engaging activity? Asking for what exactly you want. So for this example, creating a 5E lesson plan for an introductory lesson on mitosis. And then the last part, probably the most important in my opinion, is adding in those key details. So including any important context to refine the output. So that might be that exact wording of the standard that you're using, any specific accommodations for your diverse learners, or any time constraints or materials that you have available to you. So when you combine these elements, you are guiding that AI to produce the results that are not only accurate, but also aligned with your classroom needs.
Hey, we're going to give you a chance now that we've covered how to write prompts by sticking to our RTDs. We're going to give you a chance to now practice using Raina. If you look on the left-hand side, you will see Raina as part of Magic School's AI chat box. Raina can generate similar results to the teacher tools, but it's more open-ended. You'll need to guide it with a clear prompt that doesn't walk you through, and it doesn't walk you through the steps like it does in teacher tools. Think of it this way: a teacher tool is more structured and scaffolded. Rain a chatbot is more flexible, but you have to be specific. Let's try it out and see how your prompt skills can help shape your output. We're only going to give you a few minutes to look at Raina.
Awesome. And while you are looking at Raina, I'm also going to create a generation. So you can walk along and do it right along with me, or you can kind of explore Raina on your own. But again, to get to Raina, you're going to that left-hand column and clicking on Raina Chatbot. And Here's where we're going to do a math example. So I'm going to rely on Tina, my
Oh, again.
my favorite math teacher who's with us today. Um, so we need to start, we're going to do that RTD, role task detail. So Tina, what role do we want for this?
Let's go back with we are a eighth grade teacher, eighth grade math teacher.
Okay,
Hmm.
so we're giving Raina kind of the context of what she should be generating. All right, task, what do we want her to do?
Create 5 graphs to show the difference between a function and a non-function.
Okay, and then any added details that we could include here.
Please align it with our Florida best standards
And of course, even better if we had that full standard written
to
out.
be
But
able to paste in, but since we
yeah,
don't,
we don't have that available and we only have a
yeah.
few minutes. So we're gonna go ahead and click send. And so I love that we're doing some math examples because math is one of those topics that AI, not just Magic School, any AI, sometimes struggles with. But I feel like Magic School has added some features recently. Looks like she's trying and trying again. There we go. So
I'm
this is
checking to
different
see
than
if they're correct. It
what we
is.
did last time. Okay, so we have not a function, right? That's just a
Hmm.
vertical line. A circle is not a function,
Not a
but
function.
here we have y equals x squared. That is a
Hmm.
function. So there are some examples for you. And again, you can interact with Raina and be get more specific for what you need for your class. And then similar to those Magic School tools or teacher tools, you can copy this, you can export it into a Word document, but especially with math, make sure you're checking your tip for accuracy. And I just want to point out because we didn't really show those action tools live, but if I click actions and I click questions, if I ask for multiple choice questions, it's going to by default ask for 5 questions that align with that output. But that's just a quick way, like, okay, now I have the graphs that I need, and now I want some multiple choice questions, or I could have chosen open response questions, right? Again, check the answers. Or if it were me, I would say, um, give the answers to these questions. Still, make sure you're checking for accuracy to make sure they're correct. Okay, we only have a few minutes left, so I'm going to jump back to our slides here and remind you that if you ever get stuck or have questions, Magic School has built-in support to help you out. You can send a message directly in the help section to get assistance. There are also videos, guides, and FAQs available to walk you through common tasks and features. You can click the chat icon in the bottom right corner for online assistance. Now you have some time to continue exploring the Magic School tools. So as a team, explore some of the other Magic School tools. We would love for you to select and discuss maybe your top 3 tools that you would like to try out in the near future and maybe how those could benefit your work as a PLC. All right. Again, I know you didn't get a ton of time to explore those Magic School tools, but we do want you to spend, 3 to 4 minutes here kind of discussing with each other what tools might be useful for you in your subject area and in your grade levels and how those tools could benefit your work as a PLC. So right now we are just spending some time discussing with your neighbors. All right. I know our time is winding down, and that was not near enough time to go in and
Mhm.
explore all of those tools. But hopefully, you were able to find a tool or two that you would like to check out and see how that will help you in your work in your classroom. We do appreciate you joining us for our session today. We have our technology tools and training website. This is a screenshot of that website, but it is available on Inside St. John's. There's a link to it there. Um, this website has links to all of these tools, which includes how-to guides and videos and helpful tips for these district-wide tools that we have. And you'll see that Magic School AI is one of those tools that is available to you in here. This is also, we're going to be adding a tab up at the top here where we're going to put our training materials for from this session. So you'll have a copy of the slides from this presentation, and also the recording of this presentation will be available hopefully sometime early next week. We'll be able to get it up there. And then the last thing that we are requesting
Mhm.
is that you take a screenshot, or not a screenshot, we scan the QR code and answer these two quick questions. There's only two in there, and these questions are going to help us kind of guide where we need to go with our training. So we're curious about what tools you are looking into and think that might be helpful in your classroom, and then any questions that you may have regarding Magic School or any AI tools or any educational technology tools that you might use in your classroom. We are always eager to hear what your thoughts are and what questions that you have that really helps us out on our end. So we appreciate if you are able to scan that QR code and answer those quick questions. Um, Otherwise, thank you so much for being with us this morning. I hope you have a great in-service day.
Thank you.